Hello, I am Jeremias Adams-Prassl, Professor of Law at Magdalen College in the University of Oxford and the author of Humans as a Service, The Promise and Perils of Work in the Gig Economy. I'm very sorry I'm not able to join you in person due to prior commitments for the discussions today, but I'm nonetheless extremely happy to offer a few thoughts about digitalization and the future of social partnership. There's 3 points I would make by way of introduction. First, to think briefly about various accounts of digitalization as a threat to the future of social partnership. But second and third, then 2 strong positive, optimistic notions that actually digitalization is as much as a chance, a positive opportunity for the future of social partnership as it is a threat. And indeed, overall, I think I want to sound a very optimistic notion. Digitalization, if harnessed properly, can become an important tool in the future of meaningful social partnership. So first, let me think about digitalization as a threat to social partnership. There's at least 2 potential instances in which we can see that. The first one of those is the rise of the gig economy, which I explored in Humans as a Service. And there's multiple dimensions, both practical difficulty and legal difficulty, we can think about. When it comes to practical difficulties, of course, the reality is that when workers are no longer collectively together in the same workplace, or shifts change in one particular geographical location, but instead dispersed and only in contact with platforms through apps, through websites, through various online services, it becomes much more difficult for a collective voice to emerge. It's more difficult for workers, but it's also more difficult for employers and management in principle to try and get in touch with an overall collective representative view as a result of this dispersal of workers. There are also legal problems, not least through the misclassification of workers, where contractually, through various stratagems, worker status is denied. That can raise, for example, challenges through competition law, where we've seen in the United States successful challenges against ordinances that would allow workers in the gig economy to bargain collectively over key terms and conditions. Because, of course, if technically speaking, each worker is their own independent business, then any kind of agreements about the prices to be paid could potentially fall in the scope of competition or antitrust law. More recently, we've also seen real challenges to social partnership through the pandemic and the associated rise of algorithmic management. As we're now all working from home, in our individual home offices, sitting in front of computers for the whole day, it becomes much more difficult, again, to form that kind of collective voice. There's also challenges about the increasing digital surveillance and control of workers, which might make it more difficult to actually collectively explain grievances, express hopes, and engage in meaningful negotiations. So you might think digitalization is a bad thing for social partnership, but I'm hoping to be able to convey a slightly more optimistic message to you in this regard, to suggest that actually there are also some positive elements about digitalization and the future of work, specifically when it comes to social partnership. So in the gig economy, for example, what digital technology has enabled is in fact new, interesting ways of worker organization. Just as the apps, the software is used to control workers, there's also other software that allows workers to communicate with each other, to find new ways of organizing collectively. So one example, for example, in the pure online gig economy is for a platform called Amazon Mechanical Turk. There's something called Turk Opticon, which is a little plugin which was created by scholars Lily Arani and Sig Silverman. And that plugin essentially allows workers to report different requesters on the platform who haven't paid their wages. And so actually, when it comes to collective organization, technology, just as this disperses, atomizes workers, can also be used to overcome these challenges. We've also seen, through the rise of digital technology, a much easier way of organizing groups of workers, expressing their opinions, their grievances, their aspirations. But also from an employer perspective, technology can also be used to get a better sense of a workforce's needs, of a workforce's demands. So just as digitalization can be a negative here, I think it also has positive potential. The same is true when it comes to algorithmic management. Now, in a world where digital technology is developing really quickly, it can sometimes be difficult to think about how legal regulation should be designed. And social partnership can actually provide a really promising way, both for management and for labour, to come together and sort out the issues that arise. So you can imagine a world in which, rather than buying in new software for the workplace and having consultants help help management install that technology, instead you could rely on worker representatives, for example, through some sort of works council or other representative body, who become experienced in their analysis, in the understanding of digital technologies, and then when it comes to rolling them out, can actually collaborate with management to find the best way, the most reflexive and flexible way of introducing that technology, thereby helping both workers in terms of protecting them against the potential fundamental rights violation involved, but also potentially helping management in terms of ensuring trust and ensuring the most adequate and best tailored deployment of software. So I guess the key message I want to leave you with is, yes, we have to be very careful when thinking about digitalization and the future of social partnership, but at the same time, we must also make sure not to underestimate the positive potential that technology can have, both in terms of enabling social partnership, but also in terms of making even more clear and explicit the overall win-win benefits to all parties involved when social partnership is taken seriously. Thank you very much indeed.